Hello, my name is Hakon, and welcome back, all you fabulous fighting fantasy aficionados, for my third episode of playing City of Thieves, the fifth book in the fighting fantasy gamebook series. I've done it twice now. Last time I managed to find everything I needed apart from one thing, so let's see if I can find it this time. And also, just to remind my viewers, I don't like it when people put spoilers in the comments. One of the exciting things for me is to figure this out by myself. So, as helpful as that might seem, I don't like it. So I've deleted actually some spoilers on my videos before reading them properly, so I don't remember what the spoiler is now. I don't remember what because somebody told me how to get the last thing, and I didn't want to know. So anyway, I managed to ignore it, and I managed to forget it and repress the memory of it. So I'll just see if I can find it out by myself. So anyway, without any further ado, I will get started and go into my third journey into the City of Thieves. Right, so here we are. Got my supplies ready, got my dice, got my pens, paper, character sheet still empty, and I've got my water if I get thirsty, and I got my cup of tea, of course. Just lowering my chair a little bit. Right, because if I'm lowering my chair, I get a bit more eye level with my table camera here. Okay. Sometimes I look up and I look above the camera. That's because I'm looking at the screen just to see everything is where it should be. Okay. So starting by, and this, of course, I got my maps here from my last two runs. A lot of maps. Right. So skill. And where's my pen? There we are. 8, so not as good as last time. Stamina. 19. Luck. Also 8. I don't think I'm going to win with those stats. I think I'll try again. Okay, skill, stamina, and luck. Okay, that's better. Because it does seem to be some battles here that are unavoidable, so I don't really want to go in with 8 skill. Provisions, I've got 10 provisions, each of which gives me back 4 stamina points when I have a meal. And as usual, I think I'll go with my potion of stamina, a potion of strength, as they call it in the gamebook system. I like calling it potion of stamina because that is unambiguous, exactly what it does. It is then exactly what it says on the tin. So, right. There we are. So for those of you who watch my channel, you'll notice I also do other stuff besides gamebook playing. If I'd only been doing gamebooks, I would have done at least one episode every day, probably. But because I have other things to do, as well as gardening and other things, other commitments, I can't be doing this all the time, as much fun as I would have been. So that's with a bit of variety, though. Right, so now my big challenge for today, I did find last time, I managed to find, I've got my old character sheet now. Just a bit of backstory now. Maybe I should skip the intro this time because it doesn't really tell you that much. Now, what is happening in this book is that you are one of the greatest, most well-known mercenaries / adventurers in the land, it seems. Yeah, that's quite a bit far-fetched, but there you go. Certainly, that wouldn't be true if you roll an 8 for skill. And you arrive at the town called Silverton, where everyone seems a bit scared. There's a curfew after dark, and the mayor of town, Owen Caroliff, he comes to you in a tavern and he tells you that he needs your help. Every night they are being attacked by something called moondogs, which are one of the animal minions of an evil sort of magical, half undead creature. I don't know exactly what he is, called Zanbar Bone. Bone in the name sort of implies some kind of undeath going on. And the reason he's doing this, Zanbar is doing this, is because he sent his sort of main minions one day, a bit like the Ringwraiths in Lord of the Rings, spirit stalkers they're called, and to get the mayor's daughter, because he wanted the mayor's daughter. The mayor declined, and therefore now every night the Moondogs come there to terrorize the population of Silverton, and they kill lots of people. And of course, the mayor is very selfish, thinks that he shouldn't give up his daughter to solve the problem. He wants somebody else to go and sort out Zanbar Bone. Yes, being very selfish, of course, but that's natural. That's a human thing. So, in order to do this, he tasks you to go to a wizard called Nicodemus, who lives in Port Blacksand, which is also known as the City of Thieves. It is the most notorious city in the whole of Lancia. Is it in Lancia? It's in Lancia, isn't it? In the world of Titan, of course, the gamebook world, the main gamebook world of fighting fantasy. And this is sort of a haven for pirates, for thieves, for any kind of sort of evildoers. They live in the city, and also the good wizard Nicodemus has moved there because nobody bothers him with quests and help. It's an old friend of the mayor's, actually, Nicodemus, and so he thought he would go and ask him for help in defeating Zanbar Bone so that he would stop bothering the people of Silverton. So you're tasked with going to find Nicodemus and ask him to help Owen Carolith and the population of Silverton to rid them of Zanbar Bone and all his evil minions. So that is the story. For this, you are given 30 gold pieces. Yes, I must put that on my character sheet. I knew there was something I forgot. So we got gold 30. That's for starters. Of course, that is going to change a lot throughout this game because there is a lot of money exchanging hands in this and pockets in this game. There's things to buy. There's things to not so much to sell, but there's money that can be stolen from you as well. So lots of things happening. Last time I managed to get lots of money. So yes. So first of all, I should identify where do I know that I have to go to get the things that I need. So, because when you get to Nicodemus, he tells you that he will not go and help you directly to defeat Zanbar Bone, but he tells you how to do it. And part of the solution is to get a few items, one of which is a silver arrow that you need to pierce his heart, if he had one. I suppose maybe he does. And then after that, you have to rub a concoction into his eyes consisting of black pearl, hag's hair, and lotus flower. You also, in order to do all these things, you need to be protected by a tattoo, which is a sun with a unicorn in the middle, something like a white unicorn in the sun, something like that. That's the only thing I was missing last time. So, because on the way, there's lots of other stuff you can buy and pick up that I don't know to what extent it is necessary. So, I've known that the hag's hair is here. Is this visible now? Hag's hair is over here on the map. So that's this one here. The black pearls can be found there. Now, where did I find the lotus flower? Yeah, that was up here. Wasn't it quite easy to find, really? Let's see, which one is it now? Oh, there's a garden. Let's see. I don't think it's possible to miss it because you just walk past. This would have been so much easier if I actually knew how to write in a legible way. Yes, it's up here, isn't it? Ring. I think it's all over here-ish somewhere. Okay, so that's the lotus. So, and the silver arrow. Silver arrow. It's also just after you. Oh, just after the pirate ship. That's over here. somewhere east. Let's see. Here-ish. Okay, so I know about those things. I just don't know where to get the tattoo yet. I also presume that is after you speak to Nicodemus, because otherwise, why would you want to get one? So, right. So I will skip the introduction because I've just told you the story now, and I will go straight into it. Okay, let's get started. Okay. Maybe I'll try a few different things on the way. I mean, even when I know where I'm supposed to go now, I might try some slightly different things as well, just to see what happens, because it's nice to see what the different options do. Right. So you left Silverton, you've gone to Port Blacksand, and nothing happens on the way, thankfully. So let's get started. The walk to Port Blacksand takes you west some 50. Oh, hang on. Am I recording? Yes, I am. Just double checking now. Everything's recording. Both videos are recording and the sound is recording. Okay. The walk to Port Blacksand takes you west some 50 miles across plains and over hills, fortunately without any harmful encounters. Eventually you reach the coast and see the high city walls surrounding Port Blacksand and the cluster of buildings projecting into the sea like an ugly black mark. Ships lie anchored in the harbour and smoke rises gently from chimneys. It looks peaceful enough, and it is only when the wind changes that you smell the decay in the breeze to remind you of the evil nature of this notorious place. Following the dusty road north along the coast to the city gates, you begin to notice fearful warnings. Skulls on wooden spikes, starving men in iron cages suspended from the city wall, and black flags everywhere. As you approach the main gate, a chill runs down your spine and you instinctively grip the hilt of your broadsword for reassurance. At the gate, you are confronted by a tall guard wearing a black chainmail coat and iron helmet. He steps forward, barring the way with his pike, saying, "Who would enter Port Blacksand uninvited? State the nature of your business or go back the way you came. Will you? Tell him you wish to be taken to Nicodemus. Tell him you wish to sell some stolen booty. Attack him quickly with your sword." Now, last time, one time what did I do here? I told him I wanted to be taken to Nicodemus, and sorry, that's the wrong map now. That's page 2. At which point I either got the option of fighting or bribing or get taken away because I just get arrested, basically. Now, one thing that might be useful later, although I do have quite a high skill, so might not be that important, is to get a merchant's pass, which is possible to get by being arrested and then fighting the other 2 guards, which aren't that hard to beat. So I still don't know if that is the easiest option, but maybe this time I should I try the third possibility and say that I'm going to sell some stolen booty, perhaps? I'm not sure. You know what? I'll try the third option because I just want to see what happens now. I'm not going to attack because that's a bit boring. So I'm going to tell him I wish to sell some stolen booty. And go to 33. You tell the guard that you wish to sell some silver chalices that you stole from a tavern in Silverton, and that you will pay him a gold piece for his advice as to where to go for the best price. The guard looks at you suspiciously, saying, "Let me look at these chalices in your backpack before I admit you." And this is exactly what I thought might happen if you said that. And that he will ask to see what you're trying to sell. Anyway, will you tell him that you know the chalices are cursed and should only be examined by a mage? Try to run past the guard into the main street, or attack him quickly with your sword. So we've got a few options here that I don't have room for probably on my map. So we've got 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we've got so 381 cursed. That seems like a good idea, actually, because this guy doesn't seem like he knows much about magic. He would actually be scared of magic, wouldn't he? 291 run, or 49 attack. Oh, that's the same as the one on the other side, actually. So I'm just going to do that. So, okay. So I'm going to tell him that the chalices are cursed and should only be examined by a mage. See what he says about that. The guard frowns and says, "A likely story, I'm sure. But I suppose you are just the same as all the rest inside this city. You may enter at your own peril or buy my advice for 3 gold pieces. If you wish to head straight into the city, turn to 74. If you wish to buy the guard's advice, make the necessary introduction on your adventure." So either go into the city, which is 74, and I've got that already on my map, or buy his advice for 3 gold pieces. So that is 261 minus 3 gold pieces. I don't think I need this advice, to be honest. I'll just barge on ahead. So, okay, no merchants pass this time, but that's definitely an easy way to get into the city without any further fuss. So it might still be worth it to go and get the merchants pass. I'll look into that when certainly there are 2 occasions I know of where a merchant's pass is a difference between getting off or getting into quite a potentially tough fight if your skill isn't that great. Oh, okay. Oh, a bit of sunlight coming through now. Oh, that's nice. Okay. It's a nice sunny day here. I've already been for a nice long morning walk. So, right, 74. Through the main gates, you see that the rubbish-filled streets of the port are narrow and cobbled. Old and decrepit buildings line them closely, with their upper stories overhanging menacingly. You may go west down Key Street. That's what I did the first time. Over here. North along Market Street, or east on Clock Street. So I've done Market Street and I've done Key Street, and I'm wondering, is there anything here that is essential? There are some sort of optional things that might give you bonuses. That is a place where you can get money, a place where you can lose money. Let's see where Tesla. Mostly it's stuff that you don't really need. There's some +1 skill boots to be had on Clock Street. But of course, there doesn't seem to be anything essential in any of the 2 paths that I've taken so far until you get to a choke point up here at 148, and then there's a little bit of a sort of market area. So I will try to go on Clock Street this time, not Key Street or Market Street, which I've done before. So I will go completely new place. 17. Walking along the narrow street, you see a man wearing tattered rags sitting in the gutter. His head rests on his hands and he looks thoroughly miserable. You wish to stop to talk to him, turn to 331. You'd rather continue walking east, turn to 161, and that's this gentleman here. And I am probably going to stop and talk to him, even though half the time the people you meet that you talk to are out to get you. Let's see, so we've got 331, talk, 161, continue east. So 331, I'll have a little chat with this fellow here. As you approach the man, he suddenly springs up and screams at the top of his voice. He produces a dagger from his ragged clothing and leaps at you. His wild eyes belong to a man insane or possessed, and you must fight him. Okay, so 5. Okay, so that's just another of these encounters that you don't need to have, it looks like. So let's go 5, I'm 12, 22. And just to quickly run people through the battle system here, you've got a skill and a stamina. That's your main sort of abilities. Skill tells you how good you are at fighting, how good you are at defending yourself, how good you are at avoiding getting injured in battle. Stamina is how many injuries you can sustain before you die. It also has to do with sort of constitution and general health, health condition as well. So, for instance, if you get a test for something that needs running or some other strenuous activity, that might be against stamina, but it doesn't happen very often in these books. Skill is the one that's used the most. Your opponent also has a skill and a stamina, as listed in the paragraph here. And when you do the combat, you first roll 2 dice and you add it to the skill of your opponent. So in this case, he rolls a 3 and add it to 5. That gives 8, which is his attack strength. And then you do the same for yourself. So I've got 12 and I add 11, so that's 23. And the one that is greater is the one that wins that combat round and does 2 injury to the opponent. So mine is way above his, and he goes down 2 stamina, or hit points as I like calling it in combat, and he's down to 3 health left. If the numbers are equal, if the attack strength is equal, nobody injures anyone. You've just been parrying and dodging each other's attacks. So that's the long and the short of it, really. It's also possible to increase or decrease damage by using luck. Very risky. In Warlock of Fireton Mountain, you can do that. You should do that because you get so many luck points everywhere. In most of the other books, luck is a very precious resource. Every time you test luck, you reduce your score, which means that it's extremely risky trying to use it in combat, and then you find yourself in a situation shortly thereafter where you need to test your luck, and you find that you don't make it because you used it in combat, and then you might actually die because you don't have enough luck. So it's very risky, and you should not do it until you've played enough times to know what you're doing. And you know where you can do it safely. Because sometimes you regain luck points, and if you know that you're regaining luck points just after an encounter, you can sort of spend the luck point or 2 in the combat to make it easier. So that said, next combat round, he rolls a 5, I roll a 6. So he has a total of 10, and my total is 18, so he is down to 1 hit point. And he rolls a 5, so that's easy to see that I am winning that one. And a celebratory sip of Earl Grey as well. Right, so I win and I go to 86. Okay, so 86. Win. A leather pouch hanging around the neck of the man contains a small glass bowl containing what looks like swirling smoke. These kinds of things are always a bit sort of freaky. They could be dangerous or they could be helpful. Smash the ball on the ground, put the ball in your backpack, or leave the ball and continue east. Okay, so now there was maybe a hint here. It did say that the man was either mad or possessed. Could this have something to do with his madness? Is it possible that there's some kind of spirit in the ball that's making him mad or making him possessed? I'm going to try smashing it on the ground. I don't actually dare put it in my backpack because that could cause me to go mad potentially. So continue east is down there, 161, and then there are 2 other options. So And 45, smash. 194. Keep. So I'm going to try smashing it, see what happens. The glass bolt shatters on impact with a cobbled street. On contact with the air, the smoke turns a golden color and begins to take the shape of a winged helmet. The helmet solidifies and rests on the street, sparkling in the sunlight. It is the most magnificent helmet you have ever seen. You wish to place it on your head, turn to 376. Rather leave it alone and set off east again, turn to 161. Okay, so 376. Wear helmet. Now I'm very skeptical about this helmet. I'm definitely not going to wear it, but I'm not going to go past here again, probably, or I'm not going to risk doing that next time either. So just for fun, I'll just go have a look and see what would have happened right now if I'd put it on. Oh, it's actually a good thing. Yeah. Okay, so it was a good helmet. Anyway, he didn't know what he had in that case. But I'm setting off east. I can do without the helmet. Thank you very much. The street makes a sudden left turn and continues north as far as you can see. However, you notice that round the corner the houses are much bigger, with doorways some 4 meters high. That's a bit unusual. This is the Giants quarter of the city, is it? On the left side of the street, you see that the door to one of the houses is open. You wish to enter the house, turn to 245. You wish to keep going northwest, turn to 282. So we've got 282 north or 245. Enter. Okay, so I'm going to enter and have a little look, and I'm sure there are ogres or giants living here. You enter a large room with brown walls and a straw-colored floor. There is a musty smell hanging in the air, which reminds you of the dirty old cave trolls that live on the northern borders. In the middle of the room is a table made from half a barrel with some roughly made stools around it. A high archway leads through the room to the back of the house, from where you hear a low murmuring voice. You want to walk through the archway, turn to 178. You wish to leave the house and continue north, turn to 282. I'm going to check this one out though. So 178 archway. The archway leads into a large room in the center of which crouches a human-like creature, some 3 meters tall. That's this fellow over here. He looks very worried and is muttering to himself. The lumps on his face are the distinguishing marks of an ogre. Will you attempt to speak with him, attack him with your sword, or leave the house to head north? So we've got... Now it's getting a bit cramped here. I'm just going to put one down there as well. So 140 attack. 282 if you go north, and 264 speak. Okay, so I usually don't attack first. I usually speak first and then attack if I have to. So that's my usual MO, as it were. Ooh. Oh. So I'm going to speak to him and see what's going on. 264. Before you're able to speak a word, the ogre's voice booms out, saying, "Somebody has stolen all my food. Will you give me some of yours?" That's probably not what an ogre sounds like, but I don't know. Maybe something more like sort of Brian Blessed, I suppose. If you wish to give the ogre some of your food, deduct 2 from the provisions on your adventure sheet and turn to 121. So, okay, so we got 121. You know what? I'm going to give him some food. I give 2 pro. Because I've got quite a high stamina, I've got quite a high skill, I probably wouldn't need all my food. Even last time I didn't go through all of it. So I'm going to go down to 8 provisions and see what happens. The ogre gulps down the food in no time at all, licking his lips. It turns to you and tells you to get out of his home. Okay, so it's another of those ungrateful people here. If you wish to obey the ungrateful ogre and leave the house heading north, turn to 282. If you wish to draw your sword to teach him a lesson, turn to 140. Now, of course, this is the occasion where I draw the line. If somebody is asking for help, being helped, and then they are being ungrateful, I attack them because they need to be taught a lesson. So don't do it again. Yes, 140. I'm going to attack him. The ogre looks unimpressed by your aggressive action and, picking up a large bone as a weapon, lumbers towards you. You must fight him. So here we are. He has got the skill of 8 and a stamina of 9. I would have thought he had more stamina after eating 2 meals, though, because I should have given him 8 extra stamina points. So did he only have 1 left before eating? Just saying. I mean, the same rule should apply to ogres as it does to the hero. If you eat food, you should get more stamina points. Anyway, and I've got 1222. So let's put that up there because now it's more likely that I will get hit. So I've got a 4 skill point advantage. Would have had more of the helmets that I didn't put on, but there you go. He rolls a 9. I roll a 9, so that is him down to 7. He rolls a 6. I roll an 8. He's down to 5. I roll a 9. He rolls a 9. I roll a 9. He's down to 3. He rolls a 5. I roll a 5. He's down to 1. And he rolls a 5 again. And I roll a 9. He's dead. So that was easy. If you defeat him, turn to 71. After the 3rd attack round, you may escape by running out of the house to head north. Escape is also a very specific thing in the rules. It means that it says sometimes how many rounds you have to fight, or if you're fighting multiple opponents, you might have to kill one of them first, etc., etc. And when you decide to escape, you take 1 automatic hit from your opponent, so you lose 2 stamina points. Sometimes it's an advantage actually to do that. Other times it may be an advantage to keep fighting if you're quite likely not to get injured. Right, so I defeated him. I go to 71, which I'll put over here. It's going to be really messy, but I just need space to sort of get my map past on the side here. So hopefully have something useful in here. There seems to be lots of encounters in this one that are completely pointless. And also just to show you the kind of ruthless, ungrateful, evil nature of many of the inhabitants of City of Thieves. You do often find that if you try to help someone, they turn out to be evil and they're trying to get your money or kill you or eat you or something. So it's just the nature of the City of Thieves. And I think this is one of the great things about this book that make people like it so much, is that because it does actually reflect the setting really well. There's a reason for it. It's not just sort of pointless feeling like the writer is out to get you. It feels like the city is out to get you, and it should, because that's just the nature of Port Black Sound. Right. The ogre's room is full of clutter and discarded bits and pieces. It does not appear to have been tidied for years. Rummaging through the jumble, you find a polished wooden box with a hand made of white shell inlaid on the lid. The box is locked and you cannot find the key to open it. If you wish to smash it open with your sword, turn to 324. If you wish to leave the house to continue north without trying to open the box, turn to 282. So we've got 282 or smash the box, 324. Box. I'm going to try smashing the box, of course. The box shatters and you see 2 gems, 15 gold pieces and a white silk glove lying amidst the broken pieces of wood. If you wish to try on the glove, turn to 89. If you wish to leave the house, taking only the gems and the gold, continue north, turn to 282. So we got a 2 gems, and of course, usually in these books they tell you how much a gem is worth. So, yeah, 2 gems, 45 gold pieces now, and a white glove. Shall I try I'll try the glove. I'll go to 89. Okay, so. Oh dear. As you slide your hand into the glove, it seems to come alive and cling tightly to your hand. So that was a bad idea. Okay. Let's see. So that is okay. Glove. Okay. Then it changes texture and becomes hot, and you feel as though your hand is covered with burning tar, which you are unable to shake off. Mercifully, it cools down, but a thin white film remains on your hand, making it difficult to open and close. Lose 2 skill points. Okay, so down to 10. You curse and leave the house to head north, turn to 282. Yeah, okay. On the right-hand side of the street, you see a large wooden barrel and a small boy sitting beside it on a stool. If you wish to talk to the boy, turn to 119. If you wish to keep walking north, turn to 247. So we've got talk to the boy, 119. And then let's see, go north. I'll just move that up here somewhere, 247. I'll just leave that for now, actually, so I can make room where it's available once I've done this sort of side encounter here. The small boy smiles and thrusts a tin mug into your hand. It tells you the barrel contains sparkling water which cures ills, wounds, and diseases. To fill the mug costs 3 gold pieces. If you wish to drink the water, turn to 233. If you would rather keep your gold and walk north, turn to 247. Would it cure a lack of skill from the burnt hand? I'll try. I will try. I got 42 gold pieces, and I will see 233 drink if it works. Okay. Yeah, no, that doesn't work at all. It only works for stamina. Sparkling water is refreshing, but not as medicinal as a small boy claimed. Add 1 stamina point to your total, so plus 1 stamina. Not very useful. You shake your fist at the boy in mock anger and set off north. Turn to 247. So here we are. 247. Okay, like so. The street makes a sharp turn to the left and continues west for some distance. Turning the corner, you are suddenly jumped on by 3 short, stocky assailants who were hiding down an alley. 2 grab your legs and 1 tries to knock you out with a cudgel. Test your luck. So luck is 10, and I'm rolling 10 or below. Yes, I am. And I'm reducing my luck by 1 point. If you're lucky, you manage to duck to avoid the blow. Turn to 384. Let's see, I'm supposed to just write down here. It's test luck. And I am lucky. 384. Lucky. And also there's a 3, 4. Unlucky. Okay. So 384. Suppose if I'd been unlucky there, I might have lost all my money or something. As the cudgel swings through the air above your head, you punch the dwarf holding it. He lets out a scream and drops the cudgel. Feeling his bleeding nose, you and seeing the blood on his hand, he screams again and runs off down the alley. The other two dwarfs holding your legs realize that you are not an easy victim and run off after their fellow robber. If you wish to chase them down the alley, turn to 221. If you wish to set off west again, turn to 396. Okay, so 396. Let's see here. Should I chase them? I'll try chasing them, see what happens. So we've got 221. Chase. Okay. West. Probably not a good idea, actually. Not a good idea, no. The alley is narrow and dark and runs south some 20 meters before coming to a dead end at the wall. The dwarfs are nowhere to be seen. Excuse me. Right, sorry about that. And I might get another call because the connection was lost. Anyway. The alley is narrow and dark and runs south some 20 meters before coming to a dead end at the wall. The dwarfs are nowhere to be seen. Start walking slowly back up the alley when suddenly a large net falls on you from above. It is weighted and you stumble to the ground, completely entangled. Then you become aware of the three dwarfs standing above you, chuckling to themselves. Their hands reach through the netting and you watch helplessly as they rummage through your backpack. They seem interested only in your gold. Eventually they walk off and leave you to wriggle free. They've lost all your gold. Oh joy. 0. No, this is City of Thieves for you. Lose 2 luck points as well. For luck is now down to 7. Returning to the street, you turn left and head west. Turn to 396. Okay. On the left side of the street is a flower shop. Okay, so 221. Yes. So red, don't do that again. Minus all gold. And 396. Okay. On the left side of the street is a flower shop. The window is filled with exotic and colorful flowers. If you wish to enter the shop, turn to 145. If you prefer to keep walking west, turn to 24. So I will go and check out the shop. 145. Shop, flower shop. Now, there was some mention later of flowers. I can't remember exactly what the context was. There was if you went into an alley and there was a question whether you had flowers, and just before you get to the pirate ship and get the black pearls. So I'll be interested to see what's going on here. Anyway, and 24, I'll just put that on the map after. Again, maybe it's a good idea to keep doing that when I've got so little space left. Inside the shop, an old woman is busily watering the flowers and plants. She looks up and smiles, saying, "Good afternoon. My name is Mrs. Pipe. Can I interest you in one of my special flowers?" If you wish to see what she has to offer, turn to 293. If you wish to leave the shop, refuse politely and head west, turn to 24. Now I've noticed now there is no option to attack her, which is a bit unusual. Almost every shop you've gone into, you've given the option of attacking. This one you haven't. Why? Is it because she's a woman? Anyway. Is it sort of presumed because she's a woman that she can't be an evil person and therefore doesn't deserve to be attacked? Anyway. So we've got 293. Check out the flowers. 293 flowers. Or 24. Keep going. So I'm going to check out the flowers, even though I don't have any money now, so I can't buy anything. She explains that she has just picked one of her golden flowers. There are 10 golden petals on the flower, and you are told that if dipped in dog's blood, each petal plucked and thrown on the ground will change into a gold piece. Mrs. Pipe asks for any magic item, piece of armor, or food, 2 portions, in exchange for the golden flower. You wish to trade with Mrs. Pipe? Okay, that's all right then. I don't have any magic armor or magic item or piece of armor. I've got food. I can give us some food. I'll go down to 6 provisions and golden flour. Okay, so sounds like fun. Okay. And then leave the shop and head west to 24. So that's 24 there. The golden flour. Okay. So I'll check that out when I get to the bit if I do the same thing. I suppose there were some dogs there involved in the fight. Hence the connection with the flowers. There is another shop on the left side of the street. An iron grill over the window prevents you seeing what kind of shop it is. Try the handle on the door and it turns. You want to enter the shop, turn to 336. Wish to continue west without looking, turn to 196. Okay, so we've got 196, go west, and 336 shop. Okay, so let's go shopping. 336. Once inside the shop, you realize why the windows are barred. It's a jeweler's shop. Standing behind the glass counter is a huge bald-headed man with an eye patch covering his left eye. He gives you a welcoming smile, but the sight of his ugly mouth with its few black-stained teeth does not inspire confidence. A large battle axe hangs conveniently behind the man to deter any would-be robbers. On display are several ornate rings inset with diamonds, emeralds, and rubies. Now, there's been a few mentions later in the game, past this point, of whether you had a certain kind of ring or not. So obviously, this is where they come from. So this is jewels. Ask the price of the rings. Offer to sell him gems if you have them. Okay, I can do that. So we've got. And attack him. So 170 attack. Probably very good at fighting. I might even have some guards in the back because this is a jewel shop and the door was open, so that's telling you something. 36 rings, question mark, and 302 gems. Okay, so I'm going to check out the price of gems. And this might be why I wasn't told anything about the value of the gems earlier, because this is where it's relevant. You show the man the 2 gems. Holding them up to the light, he examines them carefully with a small magnifying glass. He turns to face you and offers you 9 gold pieces for the 2. If you wish to accept the offer, turn to 240. If you wish to haggle, turn to 345. You have to haggle at least once, don't you think? 345 haggle. 240. Accept. I want to haggle, see what happens. There's a typo again. It's 342 to 243. 345. The man frowns and thumps his fist down on top of the counter, shouting, "This is not a bazaar. If you don't like my prices, take your custom elsewhere. Now get out of my shop before I slice you in 2. Will you calm him down and accept his offer? Walk out of the shop and head west, or attack him with your sword?" Let's see. So, I don't know. It seems like a grumpy guy. You know what? Should I just try attacking him? He might have lots of gold. Maybe it's worth my while to. I'll attack him. See what happens. The city is wicked to me. Why shouldn't I be wicked to the city? The man sees you drawing your sword and snatches his battle axe off the wall. He walks around the counter to fight you. Dueler, skill 9, stamina 8. That sounds more like a jeweler than a jeweler. Anyway, I've seen dragons with less fighting prowess, well, usually more stamina. So I got, I'm down to, of course, 10-22 after my mishap with the glove, and fighting against the 9-8. So I've got only with one skill advantage now. The jeweler first, he rolls 2, I rolled 12. Okay, so that's a definite good first round. 5 and 7, so he's down to 4 hit points. 6 versus 8. I'm rolling quite well today. I shouldn't say that, but there you go. 6. I'm not superstitious. It doesn't matter if I say it or not. It will not change my dice rolls. So there we are. That was quick and easy, and I won. And I'm going to go to 114 for winning. So 114. Also, it's possible to escape there. Okay. Which might be a good idea if your stamina is, or if your stamina is getting low. There are 3 bejeweled rings under the counter and 13 gold pieces in the drawer. Okay, so 3 bejeweled rings and also 13 gold pieces. I need a bit of gold now. And I go 196. You arrive at a 4-way junction in the street. The street continuing west changes its name to Key Street. Okay, so this is where I get to the junction bit. And the street running north and south is called Market Street. Looking north, you see a crowd of people walking up the street, cheering loudly and waving their arms in the air. You decide to follow them. Turn to 148. So this is back to the choke point now. And that was relatively eventful, I guess. Really, it doesn't seem like the first bit is that crucial to what happens later, but it gives you a chance to lose your gold and to get more gold, and a few other sort of magic items that will help you. A few items that give you skill, a few items that makes you lose skill, a few things like that. So there is going to be an optimum path through here that I'll probably have sussed out by next time. As you catch up with this chanting crowd, you see that they are carrying eggs and rotten tomatoes. Soon the street opens out into a large market square. All around the edge are stalls with vendors, hawkers, musicians, and entertainers carrying on their business. In the middle of the square is an elevated pillory. Above the noise of the crowd, a trumpet sounds, and the crowd start to pelt the man in the pillory with rotten food. An old woman standing next to you offers you 2 eggs to throw. Not wishing to appear to be an outsider, you take the eggs and hurl them. As you do so, the old woman picks your pocket without your noticing. Lose 1 gold piece or any 1 item you may have. So 1 gold piece, I can live with that. 12. 1 gold piece for 2 rotten eggs seems a fair price to me. And aware of your loss, you walk away from the crowd to look at the various stalls. Turn to 287. The food stalls are selling fruit, vegetables, meat, and hot soup. Corn and chestnuts for hungry shoppers. Yes, corn and chestnuts for hungry shoppers. You may eat some hot food if you wish. Pay 1 gold piece and increase your stamina by 2 points. And of course, I don't need that. Walking north along the west side of the square, you see a man dressed in purple velvet playing a lyre. If you wish to stop and listen, turn to 3. If you'd rather walk past, turn to 398. Now, the lyre thing was he gave you more luck. I could deal with that, actually. So I'm going to go and listen to the lyre player. So I'm going to go to 3. The man stops playing and tells you that he can bring you good fortune. For the sum of 3 gold pieces, he will sing you a song that will bring you luck. If you wish to pay the musician, turn to 37. Indeed, I'm going to do that and get 2 luck points, actually. The man strums his lyre and sings a merry song all about you and your good fortune, if only. It does have the power to make you lucky. Add 2 luck points and walk on to the next stall. So that means my luck is up to 9. My gold is down to 9 as well. Go to 398. 398. A small circle of people is standing around a bare-chested man. He is enormous and his muscles look as hard as iron. He is asking the crowd for a volunteer to play catch with a cannonball. He states that whoever drops the cannonball must pay the other 5 gold pieces. You wish to take him on at his game, turn to 378. You'd rather walk on, turn to 52. So, now this is just a random thing. Whoever wins is 50-50. So 5 gold pieces. Do I want to risk that for a 50-50 chance of getting 5 more? You know what? I will do it. I will take my chances and see if I can win 5 gold pieces. Roll 1 die alternately for yourself and for the bare-chested man to represent the cannonball passing between you. Repeat this process until a 1 is thrown, in which case the cannonball will have been dropped and the loser must pay the winner 5 gold pieces. So, I'm rolling first for myself and then for the other guy. So I'll just so for myself first, and the other guy, myself, other guy, myself. Ugh, lost again. Okay, so I'm down to 4 gold pieces. Hope I'm not going too fast for you now. I've sort of done this before. I'm rushing a little bit, perhaps, because I want to get to the bits that I don't know yet. Behind the next stall is a young man selling small weapons and items of equipment. The prices of his wares are chalked up on a slate. So his throwing knife, climbing rope, a butcher's meat hook, iron spike, and lantern. Only thing that I can see of use to me would be a throwing knife, and that cost me my remaining gold. Throwing knives, usually when they come up in fighting fantasy game books, they are often required or highly useful at some point, or certainly if you get into the right or wrong kind of predicaments where only a throwing knife will do. So there are a few points in game books I've already played, as I think it was a Citadel of Chaos, and also in I think was there in was it Return to Fight Up Mountain, or was it Caverns of the Snow Witch? Yeah, there was the Caverns of the Snow Witch as a throwing knife thing as well, where having one makes a big difference. Right. So I'm going to walk north to 200. At least now that I don't have any gold, nobody can steal it. Then they can steal something else instead, I guess. But yeah. In the next stall area, there is a small, brightly colored tent. Attached to it is a small sign which reads, Madam Star, Clairvoyant. If you wish to enter the tent, turn to 394. If you wish to enter the... No, if you would rather continue north, turn to 117. Now she tells me, cost me 2 gold, and she tells me where to find Nicodemus. I know where to find him, so I don't need that. At the end of the market, a street named Bridge Street runs north out of the square. You decide to walk down it in the hope of finding the elusive Nicodemus. It starts to rain, and the tumble-down houses huddled together on either side of the street look as if they need shelter themselves. Most have their windows boarded up and are empty. The door to one flaps noisily in the wind. If you wish to take refuge in the derelict house until the rain stops, turn to 188. If you would rather press on ahead, turn to 31. Now, of course, going into the house only causes trouble, and not going in is better. At least that's what I concluded, even though I can't remember why exactly now, because I only made a note, do not do this, on my map. That's the red square there. But I didn't make a note of the actual encounter, so I can't remember at the moment. Ahead, you see a wooden bridge stretching over a dirty river. Various bits of rubbish are floating down to the sea on its black surface, and you squirm at the sight of a human hand passing by. The bridge supports and columns reach high above, and you see skulls, both human and non-human, tied to them. The wind makes an eerie noise as it whistles through the bridge structures, reminding you of tortured souls crying out for help. Almost hidden from view is a small flight of steps going down underneath the bridge from where you are standing. A one-legged man carrying a sack is crossing the bridge from the northern bank. If you wish to climb down the steps, turn to 329. If you wish to wait to talk to the man, turn to 364. If you talk to him and he you ask him where Nicodemus is, he offers to tell you the information for a few gold pieces, and then he tells you that Nicodemus lives under the bridge and takes you for a fool, pretty much. Although, interestingly, of course, and this is actually a flaw in the book, if you talk to him, he's going to take you gold. He's not going to, even if you don't have any gold, that's what it says in the text. So it doesn't actually give you the option of not having gold. Little typo there, or continuity error, I suppose. So I'm going to go down the steps to 329 to find Nicodemus. This charming man here. That's quite an interesting picture, actually, very eye-catching. The smell by the water's edge is terrible. Above you hear the sound of footsteps crossing the wooden bridge. Built into the foundations of the bridge is a wooden hut. Drawn curtains obstruct your view into the hut, but you know you are not welcome when you read the words "Keep Out" painted on the door in large red letters. You draw in a deep breath and knock on the door. You hear muttering and the shuffling of feet, and suddenly the door is thrown open. Before you stands a white-haired old man with a long beard wearing long white robes. He looks at you sternly and says, "Explain yourself to Nicodemus." You are elated at finding Nicodemus and tell him about Zanbar Bone's reign of terror in the town of Silverton and why Owen Caroliff asks you to find his old friend to help them. Nicodemus frowns and walks back inside his hut, telling you to follow him. He sits down in a rocking chair and starts to speak in a calm voice. "I am old and tired and wish for no more adventure. I live here on the Singing Bridge in Port Blacksand to escape the pleas for aid from people fallen on hard times. Hence, no one bothers me. But I do wish to help my old friend Owen. I will tell you how to defeat the Night Prince, Zanbar Bone. Listen carefully. Remember, you may defeat him only after sunset. In daylight hours he exists on another plane. No doubt he will have his servants to protect him, but should you get past them, you will need something special to deal with the Bone himself. To protect yourself from his entrancing stare, you must have a white unicorn in a yellow sun tattooed on your forehead. Normal weapons will not harm him. First, you must shoot him through the heart with a silver arrow. This will paralyze him but not kill him. Then you must quickly rub the ground compound of black pearl, hag's hair, and lotus flower in his open eyes. With luck, he will decay before you in seconds. If your arrow misses, I'm afraid you will die the moment he touches you. Oh joy! The items for the compound can all be found in Port Blacksand if you search hard enough. I regret I cannot accompany you. Nicodemus then draws you a map of how to reach Zanbar Bone's guarded tower from Port Blacksand. He stands up, shakes your hand, and wishes you well. You leave his hut, climb the steps, and cross the bridge over Catfish River. Bridge Street continues north a short distance before ending at a junction. If you wish to walk west down Harbour Street, turn to 91. If you wish to turn east down Candle Street, turn to 238. Now, where am I here? I am over here. Okay, so when I've done this before, I've always gone down Harbour Street, and that's where I get the black pearls, which indicates to me that is the correct way to go. I don't know if you go up Candle Street, if you manage to get back somehow. I'm not going to take that chance now. So I'm going to presume, again, that the only way to get the black pearls now is to go to Harbour Street. Of course, I'll figure that out later if there's something else I should have gotten Candle Street if I'm able to get back. So, I'm going to go down Harbour Street and go to 91. We pass a beggar in the street, sitting in the gutter and holds an empty tin in his hand. We wish to toss a gold piece into his tin, turn to 332. I don't have a gold piece. So I'm walking past him and going to 124. A narrow alleyway runs south of the street and between two houses. We should walk down the alleyway, turn to 326. Now this is what I did first time, isn't it? Is this where I could use the flowers, I wonder? So 326. Yes. So I'm going to find out now what happens with the golden flowers that I got from Mrs. What's her name in the florists. 326. Ahead, the alleyway is strewn with rubbish and discarded possessions. Suddenly you hear growling and you see movement amongst the rubbish. Draw your sword just in time as two wild dogs, each 1.5 meters long, leap at you. Fight both dogs at the same time. And take a sip of water, because now my throat is getting dry from all this talking. Yeah. So, I'm still at 1022. Still haven't lost stamina, interestingly. Been a bit lucky, I guess. 4-4 and 4-3. Yes, now my skill is 10, which isn't. 12 can be a bit boring sometimes, to be honest, because everything gets a bit too easy and it's less exciting sometimes to do with the battles. So it's nice to have a little bit lower, even though this one is going to be quite easy still. So we've got a 6 skill point advantage, and I'm fighting these one at a time. No, I'm fighting both at the same time. Okay, so that's a different thing again. So what you do when you fight both at the same time is you roll for both of them, and you roll for twice for yourself as well, as a separate attack on each one. You choose which one you're actually trying to injure, and the other one you're just parrying if you manage to get a higher attack score on them. So I'm rolling for the first dog. He rolls 12, and myself roll a 10. Okay, so I'm hitting him. That's the one I'm attacking now. The second dog, he rolls 9, and I roll 10. So I'm not injuring him, but I'm preventing the damage that he would otherwise have done to me. So second round, first dog rolls a 10, and I roll a 7. So that is the dog dead. Second dog rolls 5, I roll 7, so I defend myself successfully again against that dog. And now I'm just fighting 1 in the next round. So he rolls 3, I roll 6. It's down to 1 hit point. He rolls 10, and I roll 3. So that's 7 difference. So that means he actually manages to bite me. He rolls a 6, and I roll a 5, and he is dead. So that's my first injury of the day. Right, you may escape if you win to 184. Okay, so I won and I go to 184. And here it says, do you have any of Mrs. Pipe's golden flowers? If you do, turn to 55. Okay, so this is where I find out what happens with the flowers. 55, yes, there it is. You dip the petals of the flower in the spilled blood of the dead dogs. On contact with the blood, the petals sparkle and make a popping noise. On the floor are 10 gold pieces. So you pick up the gold. Let's see, 10 gold pieces. I'm back to 10. You pick up the gold and walk back up the alleyway to Harbour Street, where you turn left, turn to 180. So let's see. Ahead, you hear the noisy clatter of galloping hooves on the cobblestones. You hear the noise of wooden wheels and an urging voice, followed by the crack of a whip. Someone is rapidly approaching in a horse-drawn carriage. You wish to see who it is, turn to 344. You would rather hide out of sight behind a barrel and watch the carriage pass by, turn to 34. Now, I don't need to watch it. It doesn't really make a difference. Might as well just hide. Get that over and done with. The carriage thunders by, and you see its driver urging on the 4 horses as though his life depended on it. As the noise of the carriage fades into the distance, you step out onto the street and continue west. Turn to 171. The street gradually starts to run downhill, and of course, nice pirate ship here. Arr. The houses end at a tavern called the Black Lobster, and the street opens out onto a quayside. A stone jetty runs out to sea, and tied to it is an old galleon. It is flying the Skull and Crossbones and is probably one of the many pirate ships that anchor in Port Blacksand to offload their booty. Harbour Street turns right at the jetty and runs north parallel to the shore as far as you can see. You wish to walk down the jetty to climb on board the ship, turn to 399. If you wish to walk north of Harbour Street, turn to 78. I'm going onto the ship now because that is where I find the black pearl that I need for my concoction. A rope ladder hangs down from the stern of the ship to the jetty. There is also a gangplank leading up the side of the ship. If you wish to board the ship by climbing the rope ladder, turn to 87. If you wish to walk straight up the gangplank, turn to 294. So, now, if I go up the thing is, if I go up the rope ladder, I have to test my luck to avoid getting noticed. If I just walk straight up, I have to fight the guard. But I'm sort of a bit more worried about my luck than my stamina, so I'm going to go straight ahead, actually. And go to 294. At the top of the gangplank stands one of the ship's crew. On seeing you, he draws his cutlass and tells you to get off the ship. Arr, get off my ship. If you wish to walk back down the gangplank, along the jetty and turn left up Harbour Street, turn to 78. If you wish to draw your sword to deal with this pirate, turn to 386. Well, he's a pirate, so deserves whatever is coming to him. The pirate seems pleased that you wish to fight him and grins, revealing a toothless mouth which unnerves you a little. I don't know why you're so unnerved by these toothless mouths all the time. You know, you've been around before and you've seen lots of toothless grins, I'm sure, because dentistry hasn't really been invented yet, I presume. So there'll be lots of really bad toothless mouths everywhere. If you win, turn to 20. So pirate skill, stamina 7. Let's see, skill 7, stamina 5 rather. 7, 5. So I got a 3-point advantage to start with. And he rolls 5, I roll a 9, he's down to 3. He rolls outside that 4, and I roll 12, he's down to 1. He rolls a 9, and I roll a 9, so he's dead. Arr. Go to 20. The pirate's pockets contain nothing apart from a piece of stale bread. So, stale bread. You leave him to start a search of the wooden boxes and barrels on the ship's deck. Turn to 84. The barrels all contain rotten fruit, and the boxes contain manacles and leg irons. Perhaps this is a slave trading ship. There is nothing else of interest to you on deck. You wish to walk over to the deck cabin to climb down the stairs to the lower decks. Turn to 50. I will. The stairs lead down into the ship's cargo hold. It is empty. Opposite you, a corridor leads from the hold to 2 closed doors. You walk along the corridor and listen at the doors. From the door on your left, you hear loud snoring. From the door on your right, you hear nothing. You wish to open the door on the left? I do. Asleep in the bunks are 3 pirates. The room is small and contains only clothing and a few personal possessions. It looks as if the pirates have been drinking and gambling. There is an uncorked bottle of rum, a mug, and a pack of cards on top of a barrel in the center of the room. You see that one of the pirates is wearing a small leather pouch around his neck. If you wish to creep up and try to, cut it loose, turn to 162. I will. No, I still haven't managed to do this without waking them up. Let's see if I can do it this time. Test your luck. So my luck is 9. And I rolled 2, so I'm extremely lucky. Not just lucky, but super lucky. So I'm lucky and I turn to 7. Although, in fact, would I wanted to wake them up, actually, because if they do... Yeah, it doesn't say. I have to remember if I'll get anything else out of it. Lucky 7, yes. You tiptoe quietly out of the room and close the door. In the corridor, you open the pouch and find 6 black pearls. So it's 6 black pearls. 2 luck points. So my luck is now up to 10. If you have not already done so, you may open the other door. And I don't think I got anything for that, apart from a sort of a hint where to get the silver arrow, which I know where to get. So I'm going to leave and go to 78. The street runs north along the quayside for a few hundred meters before arriving at a junction. If you wish to continue north up Harbour Street, turn to 256. If you wish to walk east along Clog Street, turn to 216. I'm going to go 216. Clog Street is very narrow and lined with terraced cottages and the occasional shop. To your left, you see what looks like a small boy lying face down on the cobblestones, groaning loudly. A hood is pulled over his head and you cannot see his face. A wooden hoop and stick lie by his side. If you wish to stop to help, turn to 72. If you would rather walk on, turn to 317. Now he's just trying to steal my money, but did I get something if I won that battle? Let's see if I can find where I am now. 216. Not really, no. So I'm not going to. The thing is, it's just a goblin pretending to be a boy, so people will come over and then they just try to trap them and kill them and steal their money and stuff. So, no. One of the shops to the left is the candle makers. There are many different colored candles burning brightly in the window. If you wish to enter the shop, turn to 241. Now, the candle makers, because I can't afford any candles now, so I'm going to leave that. So continuing east, go to 280. Further along the street on the left is another shop. A sign outside reads Ben Borriman, Silversmith. If you wish to enter the shop, turn to 213. A man wearing a white apron is sitting at a bench, busily polishing a silver goblet. There are several silver objects in a glass cupboard secured by an iron grill at the back of the shop. You may talk to the silversmith, attack him with your sword, or leave the shop and continue east. Now, of course, the silver arrow that you need is an item he does not have, so if you kill him, he will not be able to make you one. So you would have to talk to him, actually, in this case. So 248. You ask Ben Borriman if he has any silver arrows for sale. He replies that he does not, but will make one for you at the cost of 10 gold pieces or 2 magic items. So I don't have 2 magic items, although I do have jewels and rings and stuff that's probably worth more than 10 gold, but I'm going to use my 10 gold now. So I can afford his asking price, and I go to 85. You pay the silversmith and wait patiently while he makes a silver arrow for you. Finally, he presents you with it and assures you that it will be completely accurate in flight. Thank him for his trouble and leave his shop. Now, this is a point where also you could have been given the option of killing him, I suppose, and just taken it, but oh well. Outside, you set off east once again, turn to 100. So I've got my silver arrow, also from my shopping list, as one of the essential items I will need to kill a Zambar bone. You soon arrive at a junction if you wish to turn north into Tower Street. Now let's see, what have I done here before? So, silver arrow, 500, Tower Street or Stable Street. Okay, now if I go into Stable Street, I will also get to Tower Street afterwards, so that's quite good. And also, I'm wondering if that is also the case for Candle Street, that it brings you back to Harbour Street. Because I don't think there's any mention of anywhere else. I think that might actually be, might be something there that I have missed, but I'll, if it still seems, after this time, it seems I have missed something, that is somewhere I need to check out. One of the few places I haven't been yet. So I will go down Stable Street first of all. Go to 246. As you walk warily down the narrow cobbled street, you are suddenly confronted by a little old man who dashes out of one of the houses. He pulls a dirty bottle out of a canvas bag. As he speaks, you can't help staring at the large wart on his nose with its tuft of hair. He smiles and asks if you would like to pay 2 gold pieces for a drink of his wonderful healing potion. I don't have 2 gold. So I have to keep going, 363. In the middle of the street, you see a large manhole cover. If you wish to lift the manhole cover to see where it leads to, turn to 48. If you wish to keep walking east, turn to 205. So I'm going to go to 48, down the manhole cover into the sewers, which still doesn't make any sense to me. There is an iron ladder secured to the rim of a hole, descending into a tunnel below. It is dark and a very unpleasant smell rises up from below. If you wish to climb down the ladder, turn to 321. I will climb the ladder, 321. At the bottom of the ladder, you realize, much to your disgust, that you are standing in a sewer. There are torches along the tunnel wall, giving a very dim light, and droplets of water make eerie sounds as they fall into the sewage water. If you wish to walk north along the tunnel, turn to 356. If you wish to walk south, turn to 118. Now, I walk south, there's a place where I can get to a giant centipede that killed me the first time. And if I defeat it, I am able to get a mirror, and I don't know whether I need it or not. It seems to be a lot of trouble to go through to get to that mirror, and so it might be useful. I've got a skill of 10 and a stamina of 20. I should be able to deal with that. But more important, of course, is the Hag's Hair, which is the other direction, and I'm given the option, I believe, of going down south afterwards anyway, so I will do the most important excuse me, bit first, and go and let's see, walk south, north, 356, yes, go north first, 356. Ahead, you hear the sound of squealing and frantic splashing. Long shadows are cast by moving objects coming towards you. Then you see the sleek, glistening shapes of 3 giant rats only a few meters away from you. Draw your sword hastily and fight each of the rats in turn. So here we are. We've got a 4-4, 5-4, 5-5, and fighting them in turn. So first one, I got a 6 skill advantage. He rolls a 10, I roll a 9, so he is down to 2 hit points. He rolls a 7, I roll a 7, so he is dead. Second one, I now got a 5 skill point advantage. He rolls a 4, I roll a 6, he's down to 2 hit points. He rolls a 6, I roll a 9, he's dead. And the last one again is 5 skill advantage. He rolls a 4, I roll a 2, he's down to 3. He rolls a 4, I roll an 8, he's down to 1. He rolls an 8, I roll a 4, and he is dead. So technically I don't need to roll many of these because there's no way that they can beat me with the rolls they make, but just to sort of get the rhythm of it, I'm just doing both rolls anyway. Otherwise it's easy to make mistakes, I feel. So I win and I go to 28. While you were fighting the giant rats, you thought you saw someone or something skulking in the shadows ahead. You wish to continue further north along the tunnel, turn to 265. You would rather turn around and walk back to the entrance hole, turn to 104. Right. So back at the entrance hole, you may. Hang on. No, that was the wrong way now. So I got a bit distracted there. So 265. Sorry, 265. With your sword still dripping with the blood of the rats, you walk further along the tunnel. The ledge you are walking along is narrow and slippery, and you have to tread carefully so as not to fall into the slow-flowing sewage channel. The tunnel gradually bends round to the right, and as you follow it round, the silence is suddenly shattered by the sound of running feet and a wailing scream. Coming straight at you, wild-eyed, with flailing arms and contorted face uttering demon sorcery, is a white-haired old woman dressed in rags. She is a hag. You possess a potion of mind control if you have this item. Turn to 82. If you do not, turn to 390. I still do not have that sort of thing. The hag is conjuring a spell which instills terrible fear in you. Your mind is full of illusions, and you think you are being burned alive with a crowd of skeletal faces looking on gleefully. You swing your sword around blindly, trying to hack at the faces laughing at you. Test your luck, which is now 10. I roll a 9, so that is a success. Go down to 9 luck. If you're lucky, a swipe from your sword cuts into the hag. Turn to 144. I'd hate to think what happens if I don't make that. The hag screams as your sword cuts deep into her arm. Our concentration is lost and the spell is broken. Your mind clears and you are able to face her with your senses acute again. From out of her clothing, the hag pulls a dagger with a long shimmering blade. You are eager to fight her. So no option but fight her in this case. Despite a comment somebody made on my previous video. So I've got 10, 20, she's got 7, 7, I've got a 3 skill advantage, and she rolls 4. I roll a 10, she's down to 5 hit points. She rolls an 8, I roll a 4, so that's me down to 18 hit points. She rolls an 8, I roll a 7, so she is down to 3. She rolls a 5, I roll a 6, she's down to 1. She rolls 6, I roll 4. So that is still a hit, and she is dead. And I'm down to 18 hit points. And I go to 303. You bend over the motionless body of the dead hag, and you cut off a tuft of her hair with your sword. You put the hair safely in your backpack and walk back down the tunnel. So I've got my hag's hair. So 104. Back at the entrance hall, you may either climb up the ladder to the street in order to continue east, turn to 205, or if you have not done so already, you may walk south along the sewer. Now, this time I will skip that one because there is I can't remember how good it was at fighting, but I think the centipede was quite strong. And I know where the mirror is should I need it. I don't think I'm going to win this time. And also I do suspect I should have gone up Candle Street as well. But I'll find out for sure by the end of this session, and then I'll sort of know where to go next time. So I'm sort of getting a quite comprehensive overview of this city now. That leaves me sort of with very few places that I know I need to study further. There's an option of going north on Harbour Street that may or may not also allow me to go back again. Most likely it would allow me to go back again because I don't think there's any mention of Harbour Street over here. So maybe this is a sort of a little cycle, and this might be a little cycle that you need to go on, just like this one here, to get something useful. So tattoos, that sounds like Harbour Street stuff, doesn't it? So maybe that's where it is, or maybe it's over here. So I'll find out next time. And please nobody tell me in the comments because I like to figure it out on my own. Okay. Right, where was I? Which 104. Yes, entrance hole. So I'm climbing up and go east, go to 205. After replacing the manhole cover, you set off east again. Everything seemed a little too quiet and you begin to feel nervous. Ahead, you see that Stable Street turns sharply to the left. If you wish to walk around the corner, turn to 44. If you wish to walk back to the junction and turn right into Tower Street, turn to 127. Now, there is a little bit here I haven't done yet. Now, I think this one sort of circles around a little bit. Let's see now. Yeah, I think I'll just keep going around, even though I'm getting the sort of the feeling that something isn't right. I just want to check this out. That's one of the few places I haven't checked yet. So Standing in line across the street, you are 3 tall men, each armed with a spiked club. Notice that each has a red star tattooed on his forehead. They are vagabonds intent on robbing you. If you have if they got a red star tattooed to their foreheads, they're not vagabonds. They're part of a gang, aren't they? I wouldn't call them vagabonds, even though they could be vagabonds and a gang as well. But you would sort of, being a gang sort of gives priority to the title of vagabond. Vagabond is a very sort of solitary. You wouldn't call it the gang of vagabonds normally, would you? Anyway, if you have a throwing knife, you may be able to cut one down before they reach you. Turn to 18. I do have a throwing knife. So I'm going to go to 18 now. So let's see. So we got 18 throwing knife. I forgot the other paragraph there. There's one more, of course. You take aim carefully and throw the knife after leading vagabond. Roll 2 dice. If the total is the same or less than your skill score, the knife sinks into etc. Let's see, so I'm just rolling against skill, and I managed to do that. The knife sinks deep into the vagabond's chest, stopping him dead in his tracks. Turn to 102. So that means I'm only fighting 2 instead of 3, which is good. The other 2 vagabonds stop to aid their friend, but it is too late, as he is already dead. They seem undecided as to what to do next. After a brief conversation, they pick up their dead friend and carry him off down a narrow alleyway to your right. You walk quickly north before they have time to reappear with more of their gang. Turn to 372. So that was a very useful throwing knife there, and it actually avoided me having to fight. And although they might have had some nice loot. 372. Okay. I'll never know. Okay. The houses in this section of Stable Street consist of 2 rows of terraces. They're all made of sandstone, apart from one in the middle of the terrace to your right, which is made of brick and is painted white. The door is made of oak and a serpent's head is carved into it. If you wish to enter the White House, turn to 131. If you wish to keep walking north, turn to 333. So I'm, of course, curious about any kind of house that can be entered. So I'm going to have a little look and go to 131. You walk into a room with sparse furnishings and a polished wooden floor. Silk curtains hang down over an archway on the far wall. As you start to walk across the wooden floor, a woman's voice calls out. "Who is it?" You may tell her you are delivering flowers. Tell her you have come to collect old rags. Tell her you are a tax collector. Now, it would be a bit daft saying you're delivering flowers when you don't have any flowers on you. And you might say, "Oh, silly me, you forgot them at the florist's, didn't I? Oh, I'm going to get fired now. What do you do this?" So, flowers, rags, a tax collector. Rags seems like I don't know, tax collector. I'm going to say I'm a tax collector. Let's see what happens. The steel curtains in front of the archway are pulled aside and a brown leather bag flies out and lands in front of you, making a dull jingling sound. If you wish to open the bag, turn to 16. If you wish to leave the house without opening the bag and continue north, turn to 333. So that is okay. So maybe that's a bit unusual, I suppose. Was the person ready for the tax to be collected already, or is it a trap? I'm going to check out the bag. The bag holds 12 gold pieces. Add 1 luck point. Okay, so my luck is up to 10, and my gold is up to 12. So, see, that's tax does pay, doesn't it? So 12 GP and plus 1 luck. And then go 333. Okay, so again, I was able to get a little bit of money. That's quite useful. You soon reach a junction in the street. Stable Street continues north, and to your left you see Tower Street leading west. So this is here, 76. You decide to keep going north, turn to 76. Now it seems that, again, I've missed my tattoo option, most likely, which means that it is either here, Candle Street, or there, Harbour Street. So I've sort of narrowed it down quite a bit if that is the case. I'll keep going anyway, in case there's something else I missed that I've... So yeah. To your left you see a large wooden barn set back from the houses. 2 horses are tied to a post outside the barn, and smoke rises from a crooked chimney on top of its low flat roof. If you wish to walk through the barn doors, turn to 25. If you would rather continue north, turn to 115. So this is where the blacksmith lives, and he's able to make you a chainmail for 20 gold pieces. That gives you 2 extra skill, and of course I don't have money for that now. So the only option I could have done here is to attack him and see if I get anything useful out of that. Would that be worth it, I wonder? You know what, I'll try it out, because I think I may have missed my chance to get a tattoo, so I may as well just explore the options here now. So I'm going to go to the barn. Here you are. So you soon realize you're in a stable when you see a large bare-chested man wearing a grubby white apron busy at work at an open fire. He takes the red-hot iron bar from the fire with his gloved hand and starts to hammer it into the shape of a horseshoe on his anvil. Sweat pours from his brow as he toils with the hammer. Will you make conversation with the blacksmith, attack him with your sword, or leave him to his labors and continue north? So I'm going to try to attack him this time, see what happens. The blacksmith looks surprised at your unprovoked aggression and pulls another red-hot iron bar from the fire with his gloved hand. He is very angry and lunges at you with the bar. If the blacksmith wounds you during any attack round, you must subtract 3 points from your stamina score because of the burn caused by the iron bar. Well, at least the wound is cauterized by the weapon, so you don't get infections. That's the positive spin on it. So, I'm now at 10:18. I should have eaten something, shouldn't I? So it's 10:18. And he's got 9. So I only got a 1 skill advantage. He rolls an 8. I'll roll a 4. I'm down to 16. Oh, no, I'm down to 15, sorry. He rolls a 5. I roll an 11. He's down to 7. He rolls a 6. I roll a 5. I'm down to 12. It seemed like a bad idea now. He rolls an 8. I roll a 5. I'm down to 9 hit points. I'm going to start using my luck soon, aren't I? He rolls an 8. I roll 7. I'm down to 6 hit points. I'm going to use luck now, try to reduce damage by 1. So I'm testing my luck. Oh, I rolled an 11, and of course that means I fail. And I got an additional point of damage, which means there's no point doing that again. He rolls a 9. I roll an 8, so that's a draw. He rolls 4. I roll 7, so he's down to 5. But I'll try my luck again, rolling against 9. So 8. He takes 2 extra damage. He's down to 3. He rolls a 9. I roll 7. So I'm down to 2 hit points. There's no point using luck, really. He rolls a 9 again, and I roll 11. Okay, so I hit him, and I use luck again. 8 or better, and he is or lower, and he's dead. 10. Okay, so he just takes 1 damage. He's got 2 left. I've got 7 luck, and now it's him or me. Okay, so he rolls 7. I need to roll 6 or better. 9. He is dead. Okay. That was very stupid, and I'm going to take my potion of stamina now. Thank you very much, and bring my stamina back up to 22. And go to 395 for winning. The blacksmith was a good man. Lose 4 luck points. Feeling extremely guilty, you leave the stable and continue north. Okay. That was very stupid. Very stupid. I got a luck of 3. That must be some kind of record low, I think. Okay. Coming towards you as fast as he is able is, at least I tried it now. As fast as he is able is a man in tattered rags with a ball and chain attached to his leg. He is exhausted and collapses in your arms. Why would I take him into my arms? I would kick him away. His face is dirty and unshaven. With great difficulty he manages to speak, saying, "Please cut me free. The town guards are not far behind me. I've been locked in a dungeon for 2 years, but managed to tunnel my way out." So basically, he's a criminal. He escaped, and I was asking for help. Yeah, it's worse than a criminal, because it's a criminal that actually has been in prison, because in this town, everyone's a criminal, it seems, with very few exceptions. Yes. I was robbed and unable to pay my taxes. So Lord Azza ordered I should be jailed for 5 years. Please help me. Farther up the street, you hear shouting voices, and then armed men come into view. You want to cut through his chains with your sword, turn to 90. No, if you want to hand him over to the town guards, turn to 274. I'm handing him over. Thank you very much. The guards are pleased that you have caught their wanted man. They tell you that he is an escaped murderer. Chief guard hands you 5 gold pieces, saying, "Here's your reward." So 17. But you won't be getting another one. He won't escape again. You watch for a short while as they lead the shouting murderer away before continuing north along Stable Street. Now, if he's a murderer, shouldn't he have been killed? I mean, surely there should be the death penalty for that sort of thing. I'm a murderer, actually. Yeah, there probably should be a death penalty for that. Anyway, I just killed the blacksmith, didn't I? 222. So on the right side of the houses, the houses are separated from the street by a wooden fence with shrubs, trees, bushes, and flowers behind it. There is a turnstile in the middle of the fence, at the side of which is a sign reading "Public Gardens, entry fee 1 gold piece." Wish to go into the gardens, turn to 370. So I'm going into the gardens. You place the coin in the slot and walk through the turnstile. Although the flowers and shrubs are not outstanding, you are nevertheless surprised that such a place exists in Port Blacksand. Well, I certainly would be. The gardens are not very large, extending back some 60 meters to where some houses back onto them. There are 2 paths to follow, one of which runs around the edge of the gardens and one that leads directly into the center, where there is some topiary. Each shrub has been cut into the shape of an animal, and you decide to take a closer look. The path leads into a small paved area surrounded by the animal-shaped shrubs. In the middle there is a stone plinth upon which sits a large earthen bowl containing lotus flowers. There is a painted sign which reads, "Do not pick the flowers." The gardener is nowhere to be seen, and there is nobody else about. You wish to risk picking one of the flowers? Turn to 14. I am going to risk picking one of the flowers. It's on my shopping list, you see. As soon as you pluck one of the flowers, you hear the noise of rustling leaves. 3 of the animal-shaped hedges have uprooted themselves and are closing in on you. Do you have a ring of fire? If you have, turn to 237. If not, turn to 191. I do not. And I go to 191. It's one thing I could have bought in the ring shop, I suppose, rather than killing the proprietor. You draw your sword to defend yourself against the advancing leaf beasts. They all attack you at once, seemingly trying to crush and smother you. Treat the leaf beasts as a single creature. So I am now at 1022, fighting 6 leaf beasts. And I've got a 4-point skill advantage, so he rolls a 2. They rolled a 2, I rolled a 7, so that's down to 4. They roll an 11. I roll 11, so they are down to 2. I roll a 5, I roll a 2, so that is still enough for me to hit them, and they are dead. If you win, you run back to the turnstile, still clutching the lotus. I've got my lotus flower. So. And I go into Stable Street 133. Okay. The street ends at the junction with Mill Street. Let's see, 133, so I am now up I didn't put all my. Oh, okay, next part of my map here. Which runs east and west along the city wall. Looking east, you see a group of town guards marching towards you and decide to walk quickly west along Mill Street. On the left, you see a narrow lane, and ahead, you see a young lad coming towards you, pushing a barrel laden with fruit. So, if you wish to walk down the lane, turn to 182. I haven't done that actually, and there might be something there. If you wish to buy some fruits, turn to 160. So, I'm going to go 182, check out the lane. The lane ends at a small shop. On the glass pane door is painted a sign, Dimmy Quick Tint, best tattooist in town. Okay, so this is where I get my tattoo. So, tattoo. Okay, so this is. A tiny bell rings as you push the door open, and a fat man wearing purple silk smiles in greeting. You're surprised to see that his arms, hands, feet, and even his face are completely covered in colorful tattoos. He grins and says, "Practice what you preach." You tell him that you require a yellow sun to be tattooed on your forehead, with a white unicorn in the center of it. He replies that it is a simple task, but it will cost you 10 gold pieces. Oh, tattoos are so expensive. If you cannot afford his high price, turn to 279. So 279. 279, can't afford. Oh, that's can afford. And 354 can't afford. Now I've got 17 gold pieces, so I'm down to 7 gold pieces, and I'm going to 279. It takes the money and motions you to sit down on the wooden stool. After a long and painful process of repeatedly pricking your forehead with a sharp needle, he applies the indelible inks. You look in a mirror on the wall and find your new appearance somewhat strange. Well, why wouldn't you? It's right in your forehead. You shrug your shoulders and leave the shop. You then walk back up the lane and turn left into Mill Street, turn to 307. So, that was 10 gold pieces. And the tattoo is on. So I've got everything I need to defeat Zanbar Bone, or at least all the essential things. There might be some other bits and bobs I should have picked up on the way that will that I will need as well. So let's see. 307. So that is. Walking towards you along the street are two huge guards wearing the black uniform of Lord Azza. As they get closer, you see that they are trolls. Brutal mercenaries employed by Lord Azra's Imperial elite guards. To your right, there is a tree which reaches almost to the top of the city wall. If you wish to risk walking past the trolls, turn to 290. If you wish to climb the tree in order to get over the wall, turn to 11. Okay, so now, at this point, I just need to leave the city, really. And there are a few options, but I will try to climb the wall, or the tree, to get over the wall. The trolls see what you are doing and run towards the tree. Oh dear, you are forced to leave your shield behind and lose 1 skill point. Okay, that's not very good, is it? After climbing quickly up the tree, you realize that you must jump a distance of 2 meters between the branch and the top of the wall. If you're wearing a chainmail coat, you will have to take it off in order to jump safely across to the wall. Lose 2 skill points if that is the case. So, so a -1 skill. -1 skill, minus chainmail. That's not a very good idea if you have got the chainmail, certainly. Below, you see the 2 trolls running around the tree, waving their swords at you. There is no alternative but to jump to 358. So that is then not the best way to do it. 358. It's a close shave, but you just manage to grip the edge of the wall with your fingertips. Pull yourself up and climb onto a stone walkway along the top of the city wall. On either side of you are stone towers, rising above the battlements, spaced some 100 meters apart. There are doors in the towers, both of which are suddenly flung open as more guards run out to capture you. There is a 20-meter drop on the other side of the wall. Will you jump to freedom, fix a climbing rope if you have one to the wall and climb down, or face the oncoming guards? Okay, this was a bad idea. So I've got jump 20 meters. That is certainly not a good idea. So 108, climbing rope would have been nice now. Couldn't afford it at the time. I got the throwing dagger instead. Climbing rope. 346 jump. Jumping 20 meters, almost certain to kill you. So 6 guards. Which means I have to face the guards. And that didn't work either. There are over 20 guards coming to get you, and it is useless to put up a fight. They drag you off to a room at the bottom of the tower and chain you to a wall. To your horror, you see the 2 trolls enter the room. Take it in turns to beat you before passing a sentence of 5 years solitary confinement in a dungeon cell. A few minutes later, a hunchback jailer arrives carrying a bullhide whip. He fixes a ball and chain to your leg before leading you downstairs to begin your jail sentence. You have failed in your mission. And although I just failed, I'm quite excited because now I know where to get every single thing on my shopping list. So, because I still don't know what's happening on Candle Street. I don't know what's happening on Harbour Street. I don't know what items I will need later. But also I know that this, some things here that I should not be. This is definitely not a good idea. Actually, going up the climbing, if I get the climbing rope, it might actually be a good idea. Well, you do still lose 1 skill though, so it's a bit risky, but yeah, so this is the end. The end. And jumping, surely that would kill you as well. So I'm never going to try jumping. So I'll just check it out. Yeah, as I suspected, 20 meters. Yeah, that's going to kill you. So I'll just put that in there anyway. I never would have chosen that. So I know where to get all the items on the shopping list, so it'll still be interesting to. So next time I will be sure to get those items, or will try my best. And of course, now I can try to do the easiest path to get there as well. And as for other things, I still don't know what else I might need. Now, it's possible to avoid the encounter where you use the throwing knife, which means I can sort of not buy that. It's possible to avoid. But it depends on my skill now. It might be possible to avoid needing the climbing rope. So I might not buy that, etc. So there are things like that I can sort of assume that some items are only used once in the game, and so it is possible to get by without having them. So still going to be really interesting to see what happens next time, because I've been almost everywhere now, and of course, there's still a bit left, and I don't know how many paragraphs are left now for the final encounter with Zanbar Bow, and I'm sure there's quite a bit of stuff going on there too. So I don't know when next time is going to be. It probably will be on Monday, actually. I don't think I'll have time before that. So yeah. Anyway, thanks again for taking the time to watch this. I see this as a shorter one than the previous 2. I did sort of skip the intro, and I've been rushing things a little bit just to get to the places that I didn't know, because so much of this is known territory to me now, because I've mapped it out. I know what's happening, and I've tried to find a few things that I haven't explored before, and I've sort of skipped a few bits that I knew didn't really give me any advantage, or certainly didn't seem to give me anything I needed at the moment. Next time I'll see how it goes when I go into the City of Thieves for the fourth time. And this time I'm sort of got a little bit more direction, because I was really worried I wouldn't find the tattoo this time either, because now I found the tattooist, I know where to go, and that makes such a big difference. And of course, there are a few items that are possible to pick up on the way that I miss now. What I should aim for, actually, I should actually aim to get some of those magical items that give me more skill, like the chainmail. I'll probably need that actually towards the end, and possibly the helmet that I skipped in the beginning as well. So there are a few places where you can get items that give you a higher skill, and I should definitely try to get those. And I think they'll be necessary when you get to Zanbar Bone and his minions, which presumably are quite strong and hard to beat. So, and of course, as Nicodemus said, you have to get past his minions, his servants, before you get to Nicodemus. And also, of course, having high skill is good for, well, I suppose I'm going to do it. The chainmail gives me a higher skill. Of course, I'm going to do it in a sensible way now that only applies to actual fighting, not to things like throwing a dagger or something like that. So, in any case, it's been a very exciting playthrough today as well, I think, and I hope you enjoyed it. And yes, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time for more fighting fantasy fun as I go into the City of Thieves again. Joy. Right. Goodbye for now.